and gentlemen, and welcome to this momentous day, the release of Inventor 2018, today being March 24th, the release date of what? It's March 20, this is March 21st today, is it? But Autodesk said March 24th. No, it's the 20. Oh, thank you, Autodesk. Thank you. You know who you are, who told me that it would be released on March the 24th. Me thinking I had 3 more days to put together a video showing you all the new features on Inventor 2018, but no, they went and lifted the embargo and released 2018 3 days early. And just completely caught me off guard. I'm like, no, I've got nothing prepared. So instead of giving you a full demonstration of everything that's new in Inventor 2018, instead, what I'm going to do is put a positive spin on this. It's like, in this video, I'm going to take you through all the new features. I'm just going to gloss over them, mention what they are, highlight what the new features are in Inventor 2018. And then in the not too distant future, I'm going to create a specific individual video on each of the new features that I feel deserve focusing in on in more detail. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about it and make it sound like I was intending to do this all along. Inventor 2018 has been brought out today. Its beta testers have had it for a while. All my TFI 23-point stress test videos were done on Inventor 2018 because of its performance enhancements, and there are quite a few of those. So here we go. You want to see 2018? You want to see what's new? You want to see what your subs money's getting you? Here we go. Drum roll, please, maestro. Yeah, it's kind of the same. Kind of looks the same, but well, you know, if they were to change the way it looks, more people would kick off about that than actually be happy about it changing the way it looked. So, yeah, it looks the same. Right, so what I'm going to do is take you through what's new, just gloss over them. I have all... Right, cards on the table. Right, my voice is croaky because I've just spent 40 minutes talking about this, and I didn't hit record on the screen capture software. So I'm doing this again. And I'm going to go over it faster this time. And if you're looking at the time of the video and if it says something like 40 minutes, well, then I completely fail at life. And there's nothing I can do about it. I just waffle, and that's what I do best. Right, what's new? The main focus of Inventor 2018 is model-based definition and global or general dimensioning and tolerances. That's your 3D annotations. That's the main focus of this release, as well as a hell of a lot of performance improvements and quality of life enhancements. That's the main focus of this release, and it's really good, actually. It's a superb release. It's probably the first release in a long time where the offices that I work in, I'm going to be upgrading them to 2018 right off the bat, rather than wait a release or wait for a service pack to come out. Quite confident in this release. I've been testing it for a while, and it's pretty stable from what I've seen so far and what I've tested with it, and it's got so much in it, not just Inventor, but also the surrounding ecosystem, the likes of Vault. When Vault 2018 comes out, that's got quite a lot of really, really useful things in it. So what's new? Right, we'll start with the general tab, and I'm not going to talk about everything, but I'll talk about what I think is the most, the biggest points of note in here. That's not devaluing anything else in here, it's just, I can't talk about everything. I'll be on this for like an hour. So easier access to express mode. What that means is when you're in an assembly and you're opening up an assembly, you've now got a drop down list for opening to express mode rather than having to go into options and then full or express. You've now got this little drop down here which will list full or express, which it's not doing on this assembly for some reason because it's obviously an old version, but there you go, full or express. So that's nice. That's a nice little enhancement for 2018. In drawing views, a delay's been added to the update view, which is really nice, actually. I really do like this one. This is something which I never even realized was a thing until I tried to do it myself, and I was like, yeah, that is pretty annoying. Why did I not realize that was a thing before? So in 2017 and beyond, when you're typing in the scale of a view, say for example, if I want to type in 1 to 10, it would change the view to 1 to 1 and then 1 to 10 as I'm typing it. But now there's like a second delay. So when you remove the number, about a second of a delay before it then changes the view, and that just gives you time to type the numbers in before it starts changing the view and killing your computer. So that is really nice. That is really nice. Another new thing as well at the top, recovery options. Include surface bodies, include mesh features. So this turns off any surface bodies, all surface bodies in your assembly or part if you've got any in there. I'm not really sure why they've called it recovery options. I don't know what it recovers. It's not recovering it, it's just turning stuff on. I don't know why it's called that, but it is what it is. But that's what it does. Okay, right, what else have we got in drawings? You can defer drawing updates straight from the right-click menu. So right-click, defer updates, that's nice. That's just, again, a quality of life thing. Instead of having to go into Tools, Options, Drawing, and then using that ticky box there, it's now straight from the right-click option. Okay, what else we got? You can change the view preview option, right? So this is when you're editing a view or creating a view, you can turn off the preview. So if you are working on a massive assembly or a massive drawing view, and every time you want to change the view orientation, you're not having to wait for it to compute the view every time. You can just do that with the preview off and then click OK, and then like offload the processing time to a point in the future. So that is nice. Right, scrolling down, parameters. This is definitely worth a mention and also a demo. So the parameters have been, it's something small, but it's like, it's such a quality of life thing. It'll make a massive difference to a lot of people. In 2017 and beyond, when you're in the parameters dialog box, Inventor just lists all the parameters in like, seriously, D434, 7mm? What the hell is that? I have no idea. I have no way of finding out what this affects. So now what you can do is you can select this filter here, go to by features, it clears the parameters box, and then you can pick a 3D feature and it'll list all the parameters that control that feature. So all of these parameters here have an impact on this. So yeah, that's nice. Then you can click this button here to clear the parameters and then select a new feature by hitting that red arrow and then picking that there. That's nice. I do like that. That's a nice improvement. All right, now scrolling down towards the bottom of this first general productivity and performance enhancements page. Performance enhancements. Right, performance enhancements. I've got a lot to say about this, which I've actually already said. I've got to say it again, but you don't know that, but I do. All right, I've tried to reproduce a lot of these performance enhancements using a side-by-side 2017-2018 window, using the same model. And to be honest, cards on the table, I can't see many of these performance improvements. Like, for example, faster view compute for hidden line removed views. This doesn't even make sense to me. Faster view compute for section and detail. But does shaded? That's not even a view type. That's a view style. It computes shaded views faster, but then it says faster view compute for hidden line removed. So that doesn't make sense. But either way, I can't reproduce this. Zoom in and zoom out. This one does, and I've got some footage for this as well. Zoom in and zoom out. Right, what this line is saying is that the minimum frame rate setting now applies for when you zoom in and zoom out and all related methods of input such as mouse, keyboard, 3D mouse, Viewcube, navigation bar, and ribbon commands. And if you're thinking, well, what the hell is the minimum frame rate? I don't know what the minimum frame rate is. Right, frame rate is how many frames every second are being sent from your graphics card to the screen. If you think of a video, right, this, for all intents and purposes, this could be a video. It's a moving image. That's made up of single frames being sent to your screen from your graphics card. The more frames that get sent from your graphics card to your screen, the smoother the video is, or the smoother the experience is. So right now you're looking at approximately 60 frames per second. If you are less than 60 frames per second, say you're looking at 10 frames per second, you're going to visibly see a jerky effect or a lag as the object is rotating. So minimum frame rate, which is what this feature here is referring to, zoom in and zoom out now respect the minimum frame rate setting. Minimum frame rate is a setting within Inventor's application options which allows you to control a threshold whereby Inventor will stop itself from going lower than a certain number of frames per second. So if you're working on a massive assembly and your hardware can't produce more than, say, 8 frames per second, Inventor will start removing objects from within your assembly temporarily, just visually, to try and improve the performance of your system. For example, it will start removing shadows, reflections, smaller objects within the assembly to try and boost the frame rate of your session. And this slide bar here controls what that threshold is. If you set it to 0, it won't ever do that. Inventor will just perform naturally. It'll not throttle the performance, it'll not remove any parts to try and increase the frame rate. However, the maximum you can set that to is 20. So now at 20 frames per second or lower, Inventor will start removing assets from screen to try and improve the performance of Inventor. So what this is meaning is that zoom in and zoom out now respect that setting where they didn't do in the past. I've got a bit of footage now to show that. Zooming in and zooming out, what would happen because it didn't respect the minimum frame rate. If you're working on a large assembly, zooming in and zooming out with a mouse wheel would result in really laggy, slow, jerky performance and also lockups for quite some time as the engine struggled to cope with the amount of data being thrown at it. What I don't understand here, and I cannot reproduce, is the likes of the 3D mouse. Now I'm using a 3D mouse here. Right, what you're seeing here is a 3D mouse. The 3D mouse has always respected the minimum frame rate setting. It did do in 2017, so I'm not sure why it's listed in there. So maybe someone from Autodesk can clarify that. The same goes for keyboard. Keyboard input, I'm assuming they mean F4. So holding down F4 and doing an orbit, well, that did respect the minimum frame rate. Same goes for the ribbon bar shortcuts. So for example, here, pan, zoom in and zoom out, zoom out. They all respect it. So I don't know what that means. Maybe there's a certain use case which they're referring to, which is different to what I'm thinking about. But what definitely does or has changed is the Viewcube. So in 2017, holding the left mouse button down on the Viewcube and moving that around now does respect the minimum frame rate, whereas in Inventor 2017 and beyond, that would be quite jerky and laggy on large assemblies. But unless you're one of the like 2 people in the world that use the Viewcube to do this, then that's not really going to affect you. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Right, the rest of them here, I cannot reproduce any of these if I'm honest. Like faster, well, no, I can on this one. Right, faster, move, pan, rotate views in models and drawings. What this means, this is the only one that I can actually reproduce. This is a faster passive performance experience using Inventor. So having 2 models, the exact same model, open in 2017 and 2018, you get a passive performance benefit in terms of how many frames per second get chucked to your screen when using Inventor 2018. That's a good thing. It's a good thing that they're tweaking and optimizing the engine passively so that you just get a passive performance gain by migrating to Inventor 2018. What it also says to me though is that for everybody that's been spending a fortune on their hardware over the last few years, they've been bottlenecked by the software. The software has had an optimization issue which they've just fixed in 2018. Just a passive software tweak has given a massive performance benefit, and I don't like that. Call me OCD, call me paranoid, call me petty and picky, but it makes me think right now, if I like go into, for example, Inventor Studio and my PC grinds to a halt, is that the software that's crap? Is that the software that needs optimized? Or do I need a better PC? Do I need 2 Xeons? Do I need, what do I need? It makes you question whether or not lockups for 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes at a time is my hardware or is it software issues? So that's kind of highlighting an optimization problem here at some point, but it's good. Either way, it's good that they're making these optimizations and they are aware of the fact that Inventor needs optimizations and they're doing it. So that's a good thing. Right, the rest of them, assembly open, drawing view creation, faster graph, all of these, I can't reproduce any of these because mostly they happen that fast anyway. You'd need massive assemblies, massive drawings to be able to see any gains between the versions for these. So I cannot reproduce them. I've tried them, but I can't find or reproduce these enhancements. But it's good to know that they're there. They wouldn't have listed them if they hadn't have done something. So that is a good thing. And because of all these performance improvements, there's been a few application options removed from within Inventor as a result of these passive enhancements. Right, there's quite a few browser enhancements as well. I could talk about these for ages, but I'll just show you the main ones. So one of the main ones for me is the search. This is massive. I mean, absolutely hugely useful. So whenever you're working in an assembly, you can now use this is probably a bad example because it's quite a small, this is actually a terrible example because it's a tiny assembly, but you can use this search bar here to now search for any file nested in your structure. I really should use a better assembly or else you're not really going to see the actual benefits of this. And I would have lots of things open, wouldn't I? Obviously. Because it's just been dumped on me and I've no time to prepare for this owl. Come on, I said shut down, god damn it. I said shut down. Right, let's go to a project and we'll go to the samples project and we'll open up something that's relatively large in size. Ladies. Right, no, don't update. Okay, so when you hit search, you can now do a text search string for anything. Like, for example, if I type in 0062, that'll bring back files that have 0062 in their file name, but it also searches through all the properties, which is really useful. I mean, that is brilliant. That's like something in the past where they would have just limited it to just the file name, and then we would have had to have like kicked off at them and put idea station. Why didn't you do it for part numbers and descriptions and materials and stuff? Oh, well, we'll do that in a future release. No, they've just done it straight away. So well done to them for doing that. That's brilliant. So this part here, you'd be like, well, why is that returned that part there on a 0062 text search? Well, if you hover the cursor over this little button here, it's because the description has the text string 0062 in it. So that's really good. The search facility is brilliant. You can interact with the part straight from the search results and then sort of just clear the results there and then crack on, doing another search if you want to. I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking for. Shaft, ladies. And then we can, yeah. So there you go. That's good. That is really good. That is going to be immediately useful for a hell of a lot of people because that really. Can you remember the binoculars? You probably, if you're still using the old version, the binocular search was goddamn absolutely awful. You had to define a massive stacked search the size of King Kong's nutsack to try and find a single part. It was just, I just want to find, do I have a nail or a pin in my assembly? Why do I have to create this massive, ridiculously complicated, stupid text search using multiple properties in a horrible dialog box to just say, do I have this part in my assembly? So this is brilliant. It's brilliant. It's taken a while, but we're there in the end, so this is good. Right, so additional browser enhancements. We've now got expandable. We've now got removable browser panels. So for the likes of the Vault panel, which I don't have because I don't have Vault 2018 yet, but you can hit this little plus here, and then you can add an additional model browser and then remove that, and you can do this with the Vault panel now. Move that onto a different screen and dock it onto a different screen, which is brilliant. It really is brilliant. So you can add them up at the top and then flip between the two. We've also got these two little hyperlinks here, which flicks the browser structure between, for example, assembly mode and modeling mode. And if you go into another, not that Neil, if you go into, not that Neil, for Christ's sake, if you go into like Inventor Studio, that introduces another hyperlink here, which changes the browser structure to suit that environment. So it's like an environmental context browser tree, so that's nice. Right, the measure enhancements. This is something that I'll dedicate its own video to, but the measure tool has now been consolidated into one button rather than having like multiple buttons that measure. It's all confined into one button, so that's nice, and I'm sure they've improved what the measure command does and its workflow, so that's a good thing. And as you can see, quite a few of these new features have been brought in from the Inventor Idea Station, the wish list, so that is always really reassuring to see that at least the Inventor team are looking at the idea station and then bringing ideas over from there into the product. Right, over to general enhancements, and this is like, I want to kiss somebody for this. The mini toolbars no longer display by default. Hallelujah! I mean these things here, these horrible, disgustingly terrible mini toolbars that linger around like a stray cat after food. Right, so for example, if I go to a new model and then model up, I don't know, just draw a box or something, right? Let's just do a circle, hit finish sketch. When you've executed any command along the top, it would bring up these nasty little toolbars that would just follow your cursor around like a bad smell. And they were just in the way all the time. It'd click, click, click. It would just follow you around in your face. It was like, just go away. Just sod off, would you? I don't want to use you. Stop trying to force. Stop being all Windows 10 on me. Get out my face. I don't want to use you. But you couldn't get rid of them. But now they're gone. There is a way to bring them back, but I have no intention of telling you how or finding out myself, because they're off, and they're off for good. Right, over into part enhancements. So this is one of the big features, obviously, in 2018, model-based definition, 3D annotation. Rumor is that this should have been in 2017, but it was pulled quite late because it wasn't ready. Hats off to them for doing that, for not putting it in when it wasn't ready. So now we can do 3D tolerances inside the CAD model and then filter them through into the drawing. So this is brilliant. Model-based definition. This looks like something which a lot of people are going to be able to use, but I will need to do a separate video on this rather than just cover it in brief and leave it there in this video. Sheetmetal updates. The Sheetmetal update. This is a game changer as well for a lot of people that use Sheetmetal. Up until now, if you used Sheetmetal, you couldn't really realistically use multi-bodied solids or multi-bodied parts with Sheetmetal, because you could only have one style and one thickness across your entire part in Sheetmetal. You can now have a unique thickness and a unique style per solid body, which is just, it's a game changer, because that was a showstopper for people in the past using Sheetmetal, so that's really good. Extrude enhancements. There's a new extent option in the extrude command called distance from face. So this lets you create an extrude from a sketch and then start the extrude at a distance away from a face. So that's nice. This is again going to need its own video, because there's a hell of a lot of different alternatives and different configurations you can go with this. But for now, it's just worth knowing that there is a new extrude from face on the extents option there in extrude. A few new hole enhancements, again from the idea station. So you can now do an asymmetric hole, which extends both ways from the point or face, which is quite nice. Chamfer enhancements. We can now do partial chamfers. Chamfers been a weird one for ages. It's like, well, fillet and chamfer, they're always covered together in a training course, and it's like, here's the fillet command, nice fancy dialog box, loads of little mini toolbars which have now gone, and then the chamfer command was this naff dialog box. It never really got much love, but now we can do partial chamfer, so that's a start. That's a start for giving it the love it deserves. Hashtag love for chamfers. Yeah, partial chamfers, that's good. Okay, over to assemblies. Assembly open enhancements. So I've covered this. You can now open to express mode from the drop down on the main open dialog box, which is good. Over to shrink wrap. There's been quite a few shrink wrap enhancements. This is definitely also going to need its own video, because I've done shrink wrap videos already on the channel. They're now out of date. So these have kind of overhauled the shrink wrap command. It makes it a lot more user friendly. There's a lot more options. It's a lot easier now to do a shrink wrap. It just makes more sense. So I'll have to do a new video on shrink wrap in the future. Right, over to drawings. Drawing open enhancements. You can now open a drawing straight to deferred mode rather than having to go through I'm sure you could do in the past, but you had to go through like an options dialog box, more clicks. So that's something which they've put in there, which is nice. Drawing support for mesh objects. This is good as well. Things like STL files, I'm assuming. There's no mention of an STL file here. That does look like the object you'd see in an STL file. So STL meshes, you can now display those in a drawing. Drawing support for mesh files, which is good. Text annotation enhancements. You can now put text boxes around text in a drawing. Again, this is no real massive compelling reason to upgrade to 2018, but all combined, they're all kind of small things which, like, yeah, I could do with all of these. Yeah, that's nice. That's a good reason to upgrade. Individually, not really, but yeah, combined, I would say so. Yes, text borders around annotations, so you get this sort of text border, and then export to PDF. Couple of small changes. The sheets in range option when outputting to a PDF now remembers itself across different sessions, and also you can choose to publish the PDF immediately after it's been created in Adobe Acrobat Reader. Alright, we're nearly there. So interoperability. This is AnyCAD enhancements and translator enhancements. They now support CATIA R6, which is great. I've never personally imported a CATIA file, but I'm assuming that's like the most recent CATIA version, I would think. That's now supported in the translator, which is good. And finally, collaboration. Right, I'm saying finally, but this is actually one of the biggest. This is actually one of the biggest things of this release. It's like kind of understated it in this video, but it is massive. There is a lot of caveats to this. It's not like you could spin this as being something that it isn't. As of 2018, you can now save parts back a version, but not all the way back to like Inventor 2012 or 2013. From 2018, you can save a model back to Inventor 2017.4, I believe it is. Day one of Inventor 2017 doesn't work. 0.4, fine. When Inventor 2019 comes out, you can save a model, probably a drawing as well, I would think, maybe, I don't know, I can't see drawing, it might be there, I don't know, possibly not a drawing actually, I'm seeing part or assembly file here, but you can use Inventor 2019 parts and assemblies in Inventor 2018. Again, more caveats. It doesn't bring it in as a fully editable file. It brings it in as if it was a third-party CAD file. So it'll come in as a base feature, no features, no extrusions, no revolves, no holes, no sketches. It'll just come in as a fully viewable Inventor file with that AnyCAD link. So if the person with 2019 changes the file, then that updates in 2018, but you can't edit the file natively in 2018. So not going to appease everybody. It's not the perfect solution that everybody would have wanted, but it's better than what we had. You can now send Inventor files back a version from this point onwards. And then finally, presentation enhancements. I don't, to be honest, like, no offense to the people that did this. I'm sure you've done great work, but I don't care about presentation environment. I'm still kind of sour about Inventor Publisher going missing, and the presentation enhancements in 2017 were never really going to cut it. So I haven't used this much, and I'm not aware of anybody that is using it much. There will be people, but I just haven't seen it in action. So I'm not really all that familiar with what the enhancements will bring to this environment. So I'll have to look at that a little bit more closely in the future. Right, guys, that's Inventor 2018. That's me covering the what's new briefly, going through most of the enhancements. I would say overall this is a quality of life release. A lot of performance enhancements, a lot of productivity gains, just passive productivity gains for creating drawn views, working on large assemblies, AnyCAD enhancements, saving files back to older versions, and obviously you've got the 3D annotation tolerancing enhancements as well. So there's quite a lot in this release. It's not the biggest release they've ever done, but it is a good quality of life enhancement. I know I've said that a lot, but that's kind of what this is. That'll do for now. Stay subscribed if you want to see individual videos per new feature. I'm going to be doing those pretty soon when I get time. That's been my problem recently, is I haven't had time to do these videos in advance. But 2018 is out now. The standalone English version is out. Check your sub center or your nearest torrent. No, I'm joking, but you're going to do that anyway. Anyway, right, that'll do. See you later. Toodles.